So the latest energy price cap has just been announced, and I want to take you through these updated figures. The good news is it's coming down. Now, the energy price cap is the limit that energy suppliers can charge customers for gas and electricity, and the new one applies from the 1st of July to the 30th of September. Now, an important thing to note, while we often refer to energy bill costs in annual figures, these will only be for the specific 3 months, and then they'll change again when the next energy price cap is introduced, and again every quarter after that. So what's changed? Well, the new cap for a household with average use is £1,720 a year. This is down by about £129 or 7% from the current rate, which is £1,849. This means the average monthly bill will go down to £143 a month from £154, so it's an average saving of £11 a month. I'll talk more about what this means for people on different energy tariffs and meters later, and I'll go through a breakdown of the new unit cost too. Before that though, I want to quickly go through how the cap actually works. So the energy price cap applies to the price of your gas and electricity on your energy company's default or standard variable rate. These basically can go up and down whenever the company likes. With the cap, the energy companies have to make sure their tariffs aren't higher than the set rate. Despite how it looks, it's not the most you can pay for your bills though. Instead, the prices set on the cap are the maximum price per unit of energy you use. Ofgem announces the figure as an annual price, as you probably don't have a clue how many kilowatts of energy your family uses. Now, the quoted cap is an annual price based on a typical household. But lots of us won't be the typical household, so our bills could be lower or higher than the cap. You could have more or less rooms, more or fewer people living with you, or just use more or less energy than the average home. Maybe you've got a hot tub. There are separate caps for gas and electricity, and each cap is also made up of a standing charge and a usage charge. So while most of us will see one figure on our bills, in actual fact, we pay a daily standing charge each day, whether or not you use any energy. And then you'll also pay per unit for the energy you do use. So what does the new energy price cap actually mean with regards to how much you'll pay? Well, as I said, the average house is looking at a monthly bill of £143 a month, which will be £11 lower than the current cap. If you're on a standard tariff, you'll be charged less per unit of energy from the 1st of July, but of course, the bill itself will be based on your actual energy use. If you're on a prepayment meter, you've got your own lower cap, which is £1,672 for the year on average. If you're fixed onto a tariff, your prices usually don't change when the price cap changes. That's because you've already agreed on a price per unit of energy for a fixed length of time with your energy supplier, which is usually 12 months. Now, if we look back at previous energy price caps, while the latest one is 7% lower than the current one, other caps have beaten it. For example, the cap between July and September last year, so the same time period as the upcoming one, was £1,568. And while it's good news the cap is coming down, we're still paying loads more compared to before the Russian-Ukraine war, when we had decent fixed deals that gave us energy for less than £1,000 a year. Almost seems like a different time. And if we look at the unit costs, the new average caps for electricity will be 25.73 pence per kilowatt with a 51.37 pence daily standing charge. And for gas, it will be 6.33 pence per kilowatt with a 29.82 pence daily standing charge. Now, as I said, these are the averages and the prices will vary depending on where you live. If you want to check, the Ofgem website has a full breakdown of the regional caps for all standing charges and units. Now, what you'll actually pay will be based on your usage, and this will be harder to work out. You can look at previous bills and see your actual usage, but energy usage is seasonal and there's other stuff at play as well. If you don't want to go down that route, you can simply add 7% to what you pay right now. It won't be entirely accurate as it doesn't take into account the balance between unit and standing charges or whether you've got an accurate direct debit set up, but it could give you a rough indication. So what should you be doing? And is fixing your energy the answer? Well, we have seen more fixed deals returning to the market since last summer, and right now, the cheapest 12-month fixes are around 18% lower than the cap. The price of these tariffs does depend on where you live, but it's still worth checking them out to see if you'll save. You'll also be comparing prices based on the price cap now rather than July's one, so this means your savings will look like they're 7% more, so make sure you consider that. If you do go for one of these, do bear in mind that some will charge an exit fee if you want to swap suppliers before the end of the term. There are also some tariffs that track at below the cap, so you'll always pay less, but these are not necessarily less than a fix. Of course, these can change, so it's worth using a comparison site to see what rates are available. And looking ahead at what could happen with the cap next time, we've got current predictions suggesting that the price cap could stay at a similar level in October, bringing bills up slightly to £1,726 a year, but a lot can change in that time. So remember, predictions are just that. We don't actually know what would happen, but there are some decent fixed deals out there at the moment. And if you're someone who likes the certainty of a fixed deal and you could save some money by getting one, it's worth considering. While we're on the topic of energy bills, this week Prime Minister Keir Starmer also announced he'd adjust the threshold for the winter fuel payments to allow more pensioners to claim it again. If you remember, people were in uproar last year when the payment, which is worth up to £300, became means tested, meaning more than 10 million pensioners lost out. The details are still yet to be confirmed, and it's unclear whether the changes will be made by this winter or how many more people will be eligible, but we will update you when we know more. And in the meantime, if you want to keep your bills as low as you can, make sure you're paying by direct debit, as this will reduce them. Otherwise, it's hard to do much to reduce what you spend on energy other than by using less. The standing charges will still apply and the unit cost will be the same, but cutting back on gas and electricity will mean you pay less. It's also worth giving accurate meter readings if you're not on a smart meter. This will mean you're more likely to have an accurate direct debit on current use rather than what you used last year, and stops you from falling into debt on your energy account. Your energy firm will probably not do this automatically, so you might need to ask. Don't forget, a direct debit averages out the spend over the year, so you should hope to overpay in the summer and underpay in the winter to help even out your bills. It's also worth keeping an eye on your credit balance, as it's likely to build up at certain points of the year when your usage drops, and depending on how much you have in your account, it could be worth claiming your cash back. I've done a whole article on this over on becleverwithyourcash.com. Finally, a reminder to submit a meter reading on the 30th of June before the new cap comes into force, so you're charged at the correct rate. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.